Today in this video, I need to clean up these controls here, this volume control, the balance control, and the mode control here on this old Optimus STA20. I'm getting this ready to sell, and I haven't used this in quite a while, and it's kind of been stored in a somewhat dirty environment. So when I went and turned it on, the volume control was kind of crackly, and the balance control was giving me fits, as well as the mode control here. However, now that I've used it and I've kind of played around with it, it's not as bad, because I did clean it with some DeoXit back about a year or so ago, but it's coming back. So I think my game plan today is I'm going to use some CRC QD to actually clean this old product out of the pots. I like to use this as cleanup because this is really cheap stuff, and it's like $6 a can, and that's a cheap way to clean your pots. And then I'm going to go with a little DeoXit and work the DeoXit in. Then I'm going to go with the DeoXit Gold G5, and this seems to give me a little bit longer lasting result, so hopefully this won't show back up again. But like I say, I'm going to sell this, and I just don't want it to go out the door and into the new owner's home all crusty. So I honestly think it's well worth $1 or so worth of chemicals. So we're going to break this open and get started on it. But before I do that, I didn't want to play any music. I think it'd be hard to hear over the camera. So I started my signal generator. I hooked up a Bluetooth unit on this back about 1.5 years ago. So I'm just Bluetoothing from the signal generator on the phone into here. So like I say, it's kind of healed itself, but I don't want this to show up when the new buyer gets it. If the new buyer puts this thing away in 3 or 4 months, comes back to it, it's going to be scratchy, I believe. So I'll try to reproduce the noise and let you hear it. So I'm going to turn this up. Can you hear that? Okay. Yeah, see, it doesn't like that. You can't really hear a crunchy sound or anything like this on the balance, but it flakes out. So like if I fade over to the rear, before I fully cut out the left, or I'm sorry, to the right, before I fully cut out the left, it will kind of bounce in and out, and I don't really want that. I want it to make a smooth transition. And I'll squirt up the tone control, even though this one wasn't giving me problems. When I first bought this device, the real problems were in the mode control, and that's rearing its ugly head again, and the balance. The volume seemed to be okay. This one's the main culprit. Okay, right so now. I have the unit disassembled, and I've got a problem here, and it goes a little like this. So one of them, this rotary switch, is not a standard waffle type rotary switch or pancake or whatever you want to call it. This actually, when I turn it, it moves in and out here to make the contacts. You cannot get to it from underneath. You have to desolder this whole thing, and you still really won't be able to get to the innards of that. And if I desolder this and I tear this down, I'm going to be really opening up a can of worms. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take the QD, the cheap stuff, and we're going to spray in this hole and around here, and we're going to try to work it in and work this switch back and forth. Okay, and hopefully some of that's going to get down into the contacts. Then I'll take and dry that up, and I'll just blow on it to kind of dry it up, and then I'll take some DeoXit D5, give a couple squirts in there, and then work it in, and then give it a squirt or so of the gold. So that's kind of a spray and pray technique, and so are these. So we're going to have an issue with these as well, because these you can't get into unless you flip it upside down. Well, I can't get to the bottom of these without actually taking them out of the board, and I do not want to do that because of the string dial tuner here, and it's just not worth it. These weren't really all that bad. I'm just kind of going and doing a little extra, but here's what I'm kind of talking about. So let me see if I can set up the camera here. So these are these are the pots that they're using for the volume control and the balance control. All right, and these are just the standard kind of entry-level cheapy type pots. And what they have, and this is where the spray and pray technique is going to come in, which is why I like to use the QD. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to get in these little side crevices here, because see, ideally I want to get in here. This is where I want to really get into. Get in there, spray it out, work it, because this is a really stiff pot right now. So I'm just going to use some of that QD, spray in there, and work it out. Okay. I can already feel that it's less gritty. Let's try the spray and pray method. If you take a magnifying glass and look with light behind, like light behind here, you look down in here with a magnifying glass, and I know this isn't showing up on camera very well. You can actually see movement. So this is kind of the spray and pray method. See that? Now, I've had fairly good success doing the spray and pray method. So this is why I'm showing you guys this, because some people will poo-poo that and like, nah, it's not going to work. Well, it kind of does. So let's get in there. Okay, so the grittiness, wow, the grittiness is almost gone, and it's freeing it up. Okay. Now, on some of those pots on the receiver, I can work in underneath and possibly get a couple shots in there, but oh my gosh, this is freed up so much nicer. All right, so here is where that comes into play. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my little can out, and we'll just go with this one first. This is the DeoX D5 with my custom-made little unit there. Come on. There we go. I dropped it. I had the valve shut, so let's try this again. Okay, we're going to do the spray and pray. There we go. Holy Toledo. That's a winner right there. Oh man, that's nice. I wish you could feel, I wish we had feel-o-vision here. Wow, that's almost like 100% freed up. So we use the QD to clean the dirt out of the contacts, okay? And then we lubricated it with the D5. I didn't even have to get underneath here for the lubrication part of it with the D5. Now that's, remember, it's lubricating it and cleaning the contacts. So it's like a silica-based lubricant from what I understand, and so it's not going to really attract dirt. Oh my gosh, that's like brand new. It's inevitable you'll have a drop left over here, right? So I try to kind of get that in there, and I miss because I'm trying to film and do this at the same time. And then we'll just sit and we'll just work that in. And that will usually do it, my friends. The spray and pray method. You gotta love it. Okay, anyway, this pot feels like brand new. This literally feels brand new. This just came right out of it. So, all right, enough of this. Let's get down to the meat and potatoes of things, all right? So I'm going to try to set my camera up here. And this pot right here is the, which one is this? This is the balance control. And this one here is really hard to turn, okay? Like I say, I can't get to that bottom opening, which would be that where the lugs are, okay? I'm going to have, luckily, I have an opening here in the top for the old spray and pray technique. So let's do this. Let's get some QD. I'm almost out of this. Get down in here between the tuning string. There we go. I'm going to work a little bit of that in. I need to turn that can around and get it. There we go. You don't need to go crazy with it. And I'm just going to kind of work that in there. There is an inlet in here, but I'm going to see if I get any action yet. Let's throw a little more in there. I don't mind getting crazy with this. Remember, guys, this is the cheap stuff. Okay. I just really showered down on that time, didn't I? Now we have a positive click here. That's a good thing. The centered detent. Okay. Just for giggles, even though I would like to go in at the bottom, I just want to see here. So we're kind of experimenting together, right? Okay, what I'm doing is I'm forcing that small tip in there in the little slot. That moved on me. Let's see if that did anything. Oh, there's another little droplet. Okay. Okay, I'm feeling it free up a little bit. It freed up a little bit, but it's not getting any better past that first point of the initial free up. So let's do this. Let's try to resituate things. Yes, I have this rig unplugged. It's unplugged from the wall. I generally unhook the speaker wires and all of that, but I'm not going to take all that apart here. Let's see here. This is the pot we're working with. And let's see if I can get to it from this other side here. And I really cannot get to it from down inside. There's just really no way I can, there's just no way I can get into that. Okay, let me try this. Right there, this is the pot we're dealing with, and I might be able to get it right in there. Okay, so let's try that. Let's we'll go with the QD first again. Let me see here. I need to move this camera back. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. I should have picked an easier project for this, but this is all right. Okay, let me move the camera back and try to get a little bit more in there. Come on. Now, because I have so much product in there, I'm going to definitely blow this out before I fire it back up. Yeah, it's only gotten freer after that first attempt and never really went any further. So let's try to get some of this shower in here. Come on, right in there. I don't like gooshing all that stuff in there. No, that's helpful. Okay, now this volume control pot is the same way. However, we've lucked out and I can get to it. I've got a little leeway right there where I can stick my tube in there. And let's see if I can do this and show you via the camera. I'm going to give it a shot. First of all, let's see. Let me set it up for a shot and see if you can even see that. Right down in there, there's just this little tiny area where I can get in there. I don't mind using that stuff. And we'll do the spray and pray method as well, but I just thought I would try to go for the easy shot first. Come on. Very sorry about the camera work, guys. This is how it is. Yeah, I'm not getting the result I want there. So we'll go back to the old tried and true spray and pray method here. And I've got on this one here, I've got a couple ends. I can go here on the side right here. And let's see. Let me get some back in there. There we go. And up underneath, you can't see it on camera. Oh, it's starting to free up now. Up underneath, and I couldn't show that on camera, but I could actually see the little disc spinning in there. So I was kind of hoping I'd get better results and just get that taken care of. But to no avail. We've also got some holes in the back there, where you got the little crimps that crimp around, and we got a couple holes back there that we might get into. So let's check that out. One right here. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's better. I've got another little hole right over here. So we're going to give that a little blast. Oh, yikes. That really helped out. Oh my gosh. There we go. Almost all resistance is gone. Now you guys can see why I'd rather use the QD. There's a hole up here. Hole here. No, I'm not getting product. Let's go. There we go. I don't want to get that line, do I? There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. That feels like that cheap pot that we did earlier. Okay, now let's hit it with the good stuff. All right. I believe going in from underneath is going to be the way to go with this stuff. Set the camera back up here. I'm using a GoPro on the little OEM GoPro pod or tripod. So we're going to try to get this in here. I'm going to use two hands for this because I really want to try to guide that stuff in there. I don't want to waste this stuff. And I don't want it really getting all over. No, let me turn this. I don't really want it getting all over the chassis. I want to try to keep down on my cleanup if I can. And let it kind of dabble on there. Yep. Oh my gosh, like butter. Whoa! All right. If that worked like that, let's try this technique here. And we'll just kind of let it, there we go. We're just letting it drip in there. That was it. Woohoo! All right. Okay. Honestly, the volume is probably the most important one because this is the one you're going to be using all the time. I think the mode switch will be the next best one. And I would really feel a lot better if I could have just got down in there better. But they did leave us a couple access holes here. The volume pot's good. Balance control I'd like to see a little freer. I wonder if going at this upward action here, I'll give her a little squirt. Come on, let's see if we can get this on camera. I'll give her a little squirt in there. And then I'll just kind of let it drip through there. All right, I've got a bunch of product that's going in there and just kind of dripping in that hole. And let's just try to work it in there at this angle now. You know, those little access holes, you can see the disc moving around in there. But this pot's just a little, just slightly stiffer than the other one. Now I know this is a different kind. You've got this type of pot here, and then you've got a pot like this one. And I was kind of hoping it would be like that, but it's not. Okay, I had no problem with this switch So I'm going to leave this alone and grab this one here. This is the one that was making kind of a funky noise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it so this mechanism is to the rear. And I am going to shoot some of this in the top hole. There we go. Did you just see it purge out of the bottom? Yeah, it's in there, that's for sure. Can you see the little beads shooting out of there? I'm also going to give her just a... I'm going to put it this way. Oh, I already was. I'm going to give it a little shot right here. The stuff is okay with the plastic inside, so I'll just give a little bit of shot of that. The idea is hopefully some of this is getting down to the bottom where the contacts are. This is a real down and dirty way of doing this. I'm not really a fan of this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the camera. I'm going to blow this out because I don't want to put my precious DeoXit in there and have it thin down because of the contact cleaner. So stand by. Okay, so I blew it out. Not with compressed air or anything. I just got my face down in there and blew it out. When you do this modification, let's give it some DeoXit here. Little squirt there. Little squirt there. When you do this little tip modification with the DeoXit, yes, there's DeoXit product in the tube, and what happens is it'll continue rolling down the tube and kind of stay there. Most of the time I can luck out with that extra drop and dabble that into a crevice or a crack, and I don't waste it. Because, I mean, this stuff's kind of spendy, and I am just so cheap, I don't literally like to see one drop go. Actually, this is the spendy stuff, the stuff in the tube. I believe this was around $14 for a tube of that. Yikes. Okay, now, can I feel a difference? No, not one bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and kind of dry up around here, and I'm going to corner this, take this in the corner, and I'm going to do little dabbles and try to get all this stuff off of the board. Okay, it's about 20 minutes later now. What you did not see off camera was I took this and blew all the residual D5 out of there and got all that out. So I did that with the compressor, and I put the faceplate back together and checked all modes and functions. It all works fine. So I want to show you our results. So let's see, let's fire up the signal generator and hit some volume. Okay. It now switches positively. It has a more positive switch from auxiliary input to phono instead of like kind of. It doesn't mess around. It's not sloppy. Way better. Okay, that problem is taken care of. The spray and pray method from the top worked. Volume was never an issue. Okay, let's go back to the signal generator. And we'll go with balance. Beautiful. And we never had an issue with the tone control. So that was not a problem. So I would call this a success. I know this was a long video, guys. Sorry about that. I'm sure some of you guys were like, he's never going to get that. But the spray and pray method does work. This is a lot better. That doesn't give me any problem at all. Beautiful. That is awesome. Okay, we have success. So there you go. Definitely get a can of QD electronic cleaner and use it with the DeoXit. I can't stress that enough. Make the cheap stuff do all the dirty work, literally, and do the D5 after that. I wish I knew this years ago, but I just kind of stumbled onto this technique because what happened was I ran out of D5. I saw some of this at Wally World. I picked up a can of this and I cleaned out my contacts and everything, and that's fine. It worked great. I'm thinking, you know, $5 or $6 a can, no big deal. However, my pots would go staticky again. So what you had to do is you have to clean up, do the dirty work with this, use that to finish the cleanup process, and then to protect it. So there you go. On this particular job, I did not use any of the DeoXit Gold G5 for two reasons. A, I don't have the modified spout, so I couldn't get into the little hole in the back of the side of the pot with it. And yeah, and then do that little modification if you want. That works out really good. I just take one of these tubes and I put it inside of here, and then I shove it up in there a little bit, and then I took some like super glue and put on this tip here, kind of shoved it up in there, and then I took a piece of heat shrink to finish the job, and that worked out really well. That works out really good. All right, there you go. Please leave questions or comments down below. Thanks for watching, and yeah, please don't forget to subscribe.